Hi everyone, and welcome to this video where we will be taking a look at making a trial balance using some T accounts that were prepared for us. So let's hop over and look at this together. Alright, so this exercise is a continuation of the previous exercise that we did in a separate video. And in that separate video we took some T accounts that were given to us, and we worked our way backwards to record the journal entries that were associated with these T accounts. So really what's going on here is we have a process for making financial statements, and there's a couple different steps to it. So the first step is to we want to, excuse me here, record transactions with what we call journal entries. So it's just our way of recording things in accounting, right? So we're going to record things in a series of journal entries. That's step one. And then step two is to take those journal entries, take the journal entries, and record or post them. Some people say post the journal entries to T accounts. And T accounts are simply it's a little chart that we create for each account, and so it looks something like this. So we have a horizontal line and then a vertical line, and it takes the shape of a T. And at the top of each account, we're going to write the account name. And then if we have in our journal entry, if we debit that account, we'll write the debit amount on this side. And if we were hypothetically crediting the account, we would write the credit amount on the right-hand side. And what this allows us to do is to total up all of the journal entries that have been recorded for a single account. So if you look back at the T accounts that were given to us, and we'll paste these in here so we can see. So we have a T account on your screen. You can see it. We have a T account for cash, right? This is the cash T account. And we had journal entries throughout November that affected cash. Sometimes cash was debited, sometimes cash was credited. And so these T accounts are capturing all of the journal entries that impacted cash. And then there's a separate T account for land, and that captured all of the journal entries that impacted land. Notes payable, capturing all the transactions, all the journal entries that affected notes payable. So the idea is to take the journal entries and then start summarizing them by account. That's what these T accounts do. And then once we have the T accounts, we can create what is called the trial balance. And that's what this problem is talking about. So the trial balance is the third step. So third step here is to create a trial balance. And then steps 4 and 5 would be to prepare and adjust it, trial balance. And then the last step is to make the financial statements. So we've gone through together, we've looked at reporting transactions in the form of journal entries. We've looked at taking T account information and working our way back to create the journal entries. So we've looked at T accounts before. And now in this problem, we're going to create the trial balance. Don't worry right now about an adjusted trial balance, or taking the trial balance and using it to make financial statements. That will be in later problems. But right now we're just trying to focus on step 3 here, which is to create the trial balance from these T accounts. Okay, so let's give ourselves some space to write here. I'm going to just erase this. I'll keep the T accounts here because we'll need those. And let's move this here. So we have the T accounts, and what I did was I just copied these from the prior problem so that we could complete this problem. All right, so trial balance is actually kind of easy. It's just mechanical. So what are you going to do first? Well, you're always going to write the name of the company, the title of what we're creating, and then the year. So the name of this company is Avinson Insurance Company, and the date is November 30th. So we're just going to jot this down in the header of this trial balance. So we're going to say Avison, is that the name of A-V-E-N? Yeah. Let's undo this. Avinson Insurance Company. And for Avinson Insurance Company, we're going to create a trial balance, and it will be for March 30th. Okay, so we got March 30th. There's our header, and then down the rows of this table, we're just going to list out the names of the accounts. So cash, vehicles, land, notes payable, building. We're just going to list these account names out. So first one is cash. Cash, land, building, vehicles, office equipment. We're going to list the assets first here. So we're going to say cash, land, vehicles, buildings. Right, those were the... Oh, and then we're missing office equipment, right? Office equipment. So we got cash, vehicles, land, buildings, office equipment. And then we can list out the liabilities here, which would be accounts payable and notes payable. So we're going to just list these next, accounts payable. And usually the trial balance will list the accounts in the order of the balance sheet. So assets, then liabilities, then equity. So accounts payable, notes payable. And then the last one will be capital stock, which is our equity account. And we're almost done, actually. So then, what do we put in next to these account names? Well, we want to write in the total of all of the entries that were posted to the cash account. So you can see cash was debited for $144,000, but then it was credited for these amounts. And so what we need to do is total these up. And to total it up, you're going to take the total of your debits and subtract the total of your credits. And if the credits are bigger than the debits, you're going to say it's a credit balance account. Or if the debits are larger than the credits, you'll say that it's a debit balance account. So what do I mean here? So I'm going to do 144,000, that's my debits. And then from that, I'm going to subtract 40,320, 14,400, and 1,680. So if I subtract from the debit of 144 the total of my credits, I get a debit balance, the debits are larger than the credits in this case, of $87,600. And that's what I'm going to write in my trial balance. I'm going to write that my cash account had a balance of $87,600. Okay? And we can do the same thing for land. Well, land, there's only one transaction there, so it's 84,000. I'm just going to write 84,000 underneath for land. And then our next one was vehicles. So vehicles, again, only one journal entry impacted that account, so 11,280. Buildings are next. So buildings, again, just one journal entry, so we don't need to do any math. We're just taking the totals there. Office equipment is the next one here. So office equipment, we have $3,840 of debits and $576 of credits. I'm going to subtract the $576 from the $3,840, and then the office equipment is $3,264. And then the next one here is accounts payable. Accounts payable, we had two transactions. It looks like the credits of $38.40 are larger than the debit of $576. So we are going to write this as a credit balance of $3,264. And that's important because I'm going to kind of put it in its own column over here. So I'm going to list the credits out to the right so I can distinguish them from the debits. Notes payable. Notes payable are $114,000 credit plus $9,600 of credit minus $14,400 of debit. So this is $109,200 for notes payable, and that's a credit balance. And then capital stock, there's only one transaction affecting that. That's for $144,000. Okay, and so if we did this correctly, what should happen is if we total up the debit column and the credit column here, we should have the totals, they should balance out. They should equal each other. And let's see if that's the case, right? So debits, I'm going to say 87,600 plus 84,000 plus 11,280 plus 70,320 plus 3,264. That is 256,464. And let's see if we get the same number on the other side in the column for credits. 3,264 plus 109,200 plus 144 gives us 256,464. So our debits and credits total to the same amount. We did everything correctly here. And this is it. This is our final get a little celebratory explosion here. Our final trial balance. We nailed it. Let's get some Fanatic going in here. We'll get some Philly Fanatic. All right, so 256,464 is the total of the debits and the credits. And now we have a full listing of all of our accounts in trial balance format. All right, well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. Take care.